Hey guys, I want to do a super quick video about glue. Glue, you've seen it in a couple of my videos before. It's something I stockpile and hoard like you wouldn't believe. Yes, I'm probably mentally ill for doing it, but you know, I find I'm really into self-reliance and fixing and repairing things rather than buying new ones, and glue plays a major role in that. And I know a lot of you guys, you know, I get messages from you guys, and I know a lot of you are not, you know, maybe you come from an apartment, maybe you're young, you don't have a lot of experience with fixing things, DIY, self-reliance, and I know you guys like these kind of videos, even though they're not the most popular, so I wanted to do it real quick. The biggest problem is, people can say, oh, I got super glue. Super glue fixes anything. No, it doesn't. It's great, it's awesome, but it's not always the best tool for the job. And I want to go over real quick just to show you some of the different types of glues out there, so that if you are the young guy who's never fixed something in life, you know what to use and what not to use, and what's out there and available to you, so that you are picking the right tool for the right job. Let's start with super glue. It pretty much sticks to everything, and people have been using it for 100 years. It sets really fast, it dries really hard, it's really strong. Downfall, of course, it's horrible on wood, it's horrible on porous surfaces. It's really good, on the other hand, for nice, smooth surfaces that can get really tight and really close together. You don't need a ton of it. Lots of times all you need is just a drop, clamp it together. This stuff hardens really quick, usually within a minute or two, and is fantastic. Epoxies. Usually they're two-part. Mix the two together. I find they're a little harder, a little tougher than super glue, a lot more heavy duty. They tend to take anywhere from like 15 minutes to a couple hours to harden, usually like a day or two to cure. I use these for tougher jobs. These are the things that, you know, super glue just might not cut it for. Consider this a stronger version of super glue. It works very similarly. It holds the same kind of things together, but the problem being neither of these are waterproof, so you're pretty much limited to indoor use and the right materials. Wood glue, super easy. You put wood glue, you put wood together with it. It's only for wood. Don't use it for other stuff. If you're making repairs around the house that involve putting one piece of wood to another, don't use super glue or epoxy. It's just going to absorb them. Use wood glue. It's cheap. You can get it at the dollar store. You can get it at Home Depot, Walmart, whatever. Anywhere from like $1 up to $10 for a normal sized container of it. It's thick, and wood doesn't absorb it like it does the super glue and epoxy, so it does a good job of that. For the most part, once again, it's not waterproof. It's for indoor use primarily only. Some of them are a little more water resistant than others. This one claims to be, but in general they're not the best. It's not something you want sitting in water. But make those wood repairs with wood glue. Stay away from the other ones. Construction adhesives. Really good to have around the house. They make all different kinds. They make them from indoor, kitchen, bathroom, outdoor for tile masonry. They make them for glass. They make them for pretty much everything. You can really get lost going through all the different types of adhesives out there for construction purposes. I typically keep just a simple tube of the indoor, like kitchen, bathroom stuff, because you never know when you're going to get a leak. Maybe you get a crack in your tub, and you just need to make a quick, easy repair until you can get a new tub. Very good to have. This stuff works pretty good. It's flexible, so if you do end up with a crack in your tub or something wrong with your sink, you can jimmy it or, you know, MacGyver it back together until the morning when you can go and get a replacement. So really cool to have, and like I said, you know, all different types. Stuff for windows, stuff for doors, you know, tile masonry, whatever your needs might be. You know, if you have it, it never hurts to grab a tube or two of this stuff and just keep it around the house. These things anywhere from like $2 to $10 depending on the type and the brand. Last, Gorilla Glue. Really good to have. Interesting glue. Super strong, but it's a polyurethane. It's basically very similar to the expanding polyurethane insulation that you spray. Very similar, except this is a glue. It expands 3 to 4 times. It's water activated. Very good for making tough repairs. I've actually used this to repair shovel handles. You know, when you have those cheap shovels with the plastic handle and they kind of crack down the center and go flying off. You can pour some of this inside the handle, jam it back on, put a hose clamp around it. It'll expand. Yeah, you're going to have some of this stuff oozing out the bottom of it, but you scrape it off with a razor blade, you're good to go. This stuff is rock solid. It takes like 1 to 2 hours to harden, about a day or so to cure, but for really heavy duty repairs, it's awesome. It's fully waterproof, so it's good for outdoor stuff, fixing broken shovel handles, you know, you name it. I use this stuff a lot. I always keep 2 or 3 of these around because, let's face it, I'm a klutz. I break a lot of things and I fix everything I break. So I'm just happen to be one of those guys. I think it's really good, but you have to bear in mind you have to use it correctly. It needs to be you know, water activated, and number 2, it does need to be clamped very tightly because it does expand. And if you try and use this on something and you don't clamp it together, the expansion will just push the 2 things apart and you're not going to have any adhesion. So really cool items. Between this lot here, you know, there's plenty. You know, you can fix just about anything with this stuff. The one thing I don't have that's also really, really good to have for around the house are the spray cans of the spray adhesives. I think 3M makes them. Bunch of people make them. They're really good for when you need to glue like a piece of sandpaper down to a table, because maybe you're sharpening something, or maybe you just need to glue a piece of cardboard down on something. They're a very weak glue, but they come in a spray can, and they're good for just temporarily gluing a piece of paper or cardboard or sandpaper or whatever to a flat surface. And a lot of times this little utility table here, I'll use that adhesive on this. I'll spray it on this, put a piece of sandpaper down, and then use it to sharpen my knives or chisels or planer blades or whatever. And then all I do when I'm done is a little of that goof off or whatever stuff on here and rub it with Scotch-Brite, and this thing's good as new. You know, it actually hasn't really harmed the finish at all, but of course this has got a really kind of strong shellac on it too, so it's pretty tough and, you know, wipes down pretty easy. But off topic. So there you go, guys. Get the right glue for the right job. Super glue should not be the only glue in your toolbox. There's all different kinds, all different things. Look at whether they expand, whether they're waterproof, how long they take to set, how long to cure, do they need to be clamped, and make sure that they're working for the right materials. Trying to use super glue on wood isn't going to work. Trying to use wood glue on metal, not going to work. Kind of common sense stuff, guys, but just wanted to show you real simple, real quick, what's out there and what you need for around the house.